Small business loans or grants or something like that?
So, in my opinion, all the money that we receive is assistance from the government. Because it's all fiat. It's not real, and
Mm-hmm.
it comes from somewhere.
Ochie the Great, once again, it is a pleasure to see you, to get a chance to talk with you since I guess the last time you live streamed was about a month ago. And it was unfortunate you wasn't able to come in and join us on our last live stream. We're dealing with the topic of law enforcement, but we're happy to have you here with us today. So just briefly tell us, how you are, what's your state of mind, and but what was your first thought when I asked you for this interview?
Yeah. So first off, definitely appreciate you for having me on. I know we've been having these different lives that we did. We basically put in work, in the past when it comes to information, bringing it forward. So definitely appreciate you and whatever you have going on. But how I'm feeling, I'm actually feeling good. I mean, I'm good. I got good people around me. It's not much that I can ask for. Once I got good people around me, then I'm good. So nothing negative is going on where I'm at. So when you asked me to do an interview, so of course, I mean, I was excited. So a lot of people know that, like you said, I haven't did a live and I guess it's like a month or 3 weeks ago or something like that. And then even before that, it's been a month or a couple of months. So my lives has been like, sporadic. Then even putting out information has been sporadic, and I got different reasons for that. But we can get into that whenever you feel like it. But all in all, everything is good. Being positive about everything, and just want to manifest great things moving forward.
Cool, cool. I understand that, and I do appreciate that. Speaking of
Okay.
your last live, um, when you came out with that video, I was like, well, first I seen you on Instagram, and you actually posted. I think you posted a little short of you being stopped or something like that, or explaining the stop, something like that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. So
go ahead, go ahead, my brother.
no, go ahead if
Just
you
go
got
ahead.
more.
So you came back and you did that live, explaining it all and how you were able to um actually give us some education on how you was able to get the state actors out of your business, meaning the police officers, how when they approached you after the so-called doing a traffic stop, how you left without a summons, correct?
Right, right. They didn't give me anything, and in fact, that's been going on for a while. So this is something is what they call is rights to travel. And I've been operating in the rights to travel. I've been traveling for just over 5 years. This is something I actually been studying. I've been researching different people and reading different texts and actually studying the law when it comes to traveling. And just to be specific, a lot of people when you hear traveling, they just think someone just hopping on a plane or something like that. So traveling, it's different. Rights to travel it's actually something in the law. It's the law of the land. Everyone actually have the rights to travel from A to B, travel the highways and byways. And with using the what I would call an automobile, people would say car or vehicle, whatever they would say, but you have your rights to do that without a license. So you don't have to have a license, license plates, insurance, or any of that, anything. You don't even have to have your car registered to the state in order to travel. So it's just like having a regular bike, or it's just like walking and anything else. As long as you're not operating in commerce, you could travel. So that's something that I kind of just hopped out the window after I studied. Some people will study stuff and just watch for somebody else to do it before they do it. Me, I study, I watch people do it, of course. There's plenty of videos out there. Then I just decided to hop out the window myself and just really, just learn from trial and error. You know what I'm saying? So, I always feel like it's the best way to learn anyway. That's the best schooling that anyone can ever get if you just learn from trial and error, if you just get out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? And not being afraid. So, I was always taught that if you are afraid of something, if something gives you fear, then it has power over you. So I don't want anything to have power over me. Thus far, I took fear out and just, went forward, and I haven't got arrested. I don't have any, well, they would say I have warrants, but I don't get tickets or arrested or anything. So I've had people and even my children in my automobile, and the police would actually see what I'm doing. They see what type of plates that I have. And like I said, it's not license plates. It's basically it's like my own plates. It's private plates, and it actually says private on there. Dot exempt. That's dot is Department of Transportation exempt and non-commercial. It has on the license plate, so a so-called officer would look at that and they would keep it moving. They always go the other way. So I would have people in the car and they'll notice that the police behind me, but they'll just go around me or go the other way. It's almost like I'm invisible. So yeah, and we could get more into that, but that's pretty much what the last video was about that I posted on my page or that I put on Instagram. And I wanted to talk about it. Of course, I be so caught in a moment that I don't think to pull out my phone as soon as I get pulled over. So caught in the moment, I'm just ready to go. So I end up taking out my phone, probably in the middle of everything that was going on. But at least the people was able to catch that they didn't give me a ticket and they let me go, even though they said I have warrants. So and yeah, so that's pretty much what happened in a nutshell when it comes to that video.
So pretty much you explain to the people the idea of rights to travel, or actually the law of traveling, freedom or the liberty to move freely, right?
That's a fact. That's a fact. The liberty to move freely, without being stopped or anything. So, from my understanding, is traffic law it's not actually a such thing. So if you really do the research and look into exactly what that is, no one should actually go into court for any type of traffic law. And to me, it's a scam the way they will give a lot of Americans tickets for traffic violations if they're not operating in commerce. Of course, if you're operating in commerce, like if you are Uber driver or Lyft driver or truck driver or carrying cargo or whatever, doing something for money, then yeah, you gotta abide by the rules. You gotta do anything that they say. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to register your car. And number one, that's why you have to get a license. Now,
So how many times you've been pulled well, yeah, pulled over and provided the officer or the law enforcement actor, you know what I mean, your private I guess you have a private ID or something like that where you be able to identify yourself, or you don't identify yourself?
but yeah, I can answer your question as far as like how many times I got pulled over because that had something to do with what I was saying. So I've been doing it for 5 years, 5 years plus, and I probably got pulled over 3 times out of the 5 years. Now, the first 2 times well, let me say 4 times, because including the last time. The first 2 times, it was the same guy. He was harassing me, and this is a person that it's an ongoing thing with this particular officer or whatever, and he actually have a case, for, what I mean. But he was basically harassing me. You know what I'm saying? So the the third time I caught on video, I decided to, like, let me start recording these things so I could defend myself, things like that if I have to. So the third time I caught it on video, and then that that's another one that I actually posted online. I did a live about that one as well. So I think my last live, I showed 2 videos in one of both of my stops. So both of the times I got flagged, the last 2 times I should say. So that particular time, usually when they pull people over out in St. Louis, they have to call for backup. So I had 2 police cars. They pulled me over, and I ended up driving in a popular place. It's basically a Save a Lot store. So I pulled over there. And by the way, you always want to go somewhere where it's heavy traffic, just for your own safety. But I pulled over there. They asked me questions. So of course I had, my jargon on what I say, because there's certain things you want to say to the so-called, well, police. Because as soon as they put you over, their camera could be on. Anything you say could be held against you in the court of law, and that's real. So the court of law actually starts right then and there. So I said what I said, but at the end of that day, end of that whole exchange, they end up saying something interesting. They just said, "Hey, we would write you a ticket, but the ticket won't actually print out." Now they have 2 different police cars, and the ticket wouldn't print out for me, so they just let me go. You know, and then they did threaten to tow my car, and they told me to walk and stuff like that, but they ended up letting me go. You know, so I still have that vehicle, and I just went to where I needed to go. You know what I'm saying? But the only caveat to it, they actually held me for way too long. They held me for like 45 minutes, talking it over to each other, whatever. And then the last video, yeah, just that happened like a couple of months ago, the last stop. But I think that's pretty good. Out of 5 years, I only stopped 4 times. So approximately 1 time a year, never got a ticket. So yeah.
So I'm all about each one teach one, right? So, and you have experience, so therefore you're able to teach us and give us, hands-on experience, or accounts of dealing with law enforcement and coming out, I would say, a winner, right? So, who taught you these things, or what had you looking into the right of traveling? How did you go that route?
I really I really looked up different strategies from different people on YouTube. Also, read a few documents just online, just Google search. But I would say the main person, and I could give a shout out to this person, that helped me out a lot when it comes to just fully understanding it. This brother name is Tazadak Charbet. Some, I don't know if you heard of him, but he talks a lot about traffic law and unlawful stops, stuff like that. So y'all could check some of his work out. Hebrew Israelite brother. It's a good brother. So and then a few other people. It's sporadic. But I would say I'll listen to him the most. You know, so I listen to his advice or whatnot.
So
Or
you have a private license plate. You mentioned you had a private license plate, so
that's right.
there must be a website where you can't be the only one that can get one of these, right?
Absolutely not. So I mean, you can make your own if you want to, but if you don't, if you want to get something that a lot of people have used, not a lot of people, because it's I'm in St. Louis, I rarely see people it's rare if I see anybody that has the exact same license plate that I have, not license plate, but place that I have, but it is the website called Freedom for Government, and that's a white dude, and he got information with him as well, what I'm saying, all on the website and everything. So I made that purchase from him on this website, Freedom for Government. And you also have booklets and things and different stickers you can carry, along for any. If you stop, then you'll know exactly what to say, what to read, and stuff like that. So yeah, he'll set you up too. But Freedom from Government.
Freedom from government. Right. You dropping some jewels as usual.
You still got me?
Yeah, I was writing that down. Freedom from
Okay.
government. You dropping
Freedom
some,
from.
yeah, freedom
Yeah.
from government. You dropping some jewels. So that goes back to that last live that I did on my channel on Achoti Speaks, whereby we talked about law enforcement and how they are actually costing the United States as a whole lots of money by having to pay out on these civil cases, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and how all these cops are given the benefit of the doubt, right? When they go before these judges on these, and when they have to defend their arrests, right? So I was saying
Yeah.
our unfortunate situation amongst our black brothers start at the point of arrest, right? So
That's right.
and so I thought that I immediately thought of you. A lot of those arrests comes at the point where they're pulling us over for minor frivolous traffic stops,
That's right.
traffic violations, right? So
Well,
you were talking about, they're not really traffic laws; they're just ordinances that's put in place by the city county, right? And they're supposed to be enforcers of those ordinances, right? So fines and all of that, that is a scam, like a way to rob the people of the community that's actually paying their salary. So,
right.
so with the law enforcement being so out of place and basically criminal, right, and being found held guilty in these civil suits in some criminal cases nowadays, do you think that we should start a campaign to encourage our people to, uh, basically assert our rights to travel freely when we're not operating in a capacity of doing commerce? How do we start a campaign of
The,
awareness?
the campaign that I would start of awareness in general is just learning the law in your state and your city. For whatever you want to do. So the thing that officers actually do, they like to find reasons to do something. You know what I mean? I didn't see officer find reasons to go inside people's homes, let alone traffic stops, So just learning the law of wherever you at. So learning the law wherever you at. And granted, they make new laws every single day, but the most importantly, learning the law of the land. The law of the land actually never changes, you know. So you learn the law of the land and just the legal leads on how to say things, what to say, what not to say, Because granted, like some of the things that we say, it's like it's like for lack of better words, a trigger button, that could actually give someone the go ahead to do what they want to do to you, you know. So I would say learn the law first, and then we could be able to operate in different ways. So if we wanted to do rights to travels, we can do that because we know the law, Or if we wanted to do, whatever, we can do that because we know the law. You know what I'm saying? So whatever's going to save us in the courtroom, that's what we should, go towards. You know what I'm saying? Because all honestly, they get away with a lot of stuff, all because it's protected under the law. You know, so in our eyes, they may be doing something wrong, but if it's protected under law, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? So you know, if we learn the law, I feel like that should be the first notion. Learning the law of the land.
So when you say the law of the land, you mean the Constitution, or you mean the law? I know you said you mentioned state, so you talk about states' constitutions and state rights, correct?
But absolutely, so it's state constitution, state rights, and really all of it. So the law of the land, like you said, the Constitution, it doesn't change. So all these other laws that's written in, you know, and they change, like the city laws and stuff like that. They those things could change. But the law of the land doesn't. So it actually states certain things, and I don't know about heart. I just know particular things that I study just so I can get away with what I need to get away with. Um, but the Constitution, it really doesn't change at all. You know. So,
Well,
but I
well,
will
well,
learn all of it.
I wouldn't fashion it as saying getting away with it. I would just fashion it as saying like living a lifestyle where they have to um, live by their own rules that they wrote, right? So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
that's what I would say. So, speaking of that, I know that you were pretty active during the summer of 2020 and also throughout 2021, right? So, in with the Black militia, right,
Okay.
and various self defense groups, right, and
Okay.
so you were very vocal during that time. So it, and that came about, as we all know, as Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, it on the heels of George Floyd, so that was a very, very trying time for our spirit to see all of those different tragedies, one after the other, almost like post traumatic slave syndrome, right?
Right.
And every time we saw another one, it was almost like a trigger for me. It stirred up so much anger, right? And then for
Yeah.
others, it was a time of lots of days ago if they weren't really bothered by it, right? And so, do you think that if our people would gear towards more towards recognizing and supporting um, our own self defense and doing it the way that the Black Panther Party did it back in the day, where we actually have brothers posted, at major thoroughways that lead into our communities, right? And then we have also brothers actually policing or walking a beat in our communities, keeping our own people from doing harm to us. Do you think if we revert back to that, organizing that fashion, because you were amongst them, do you think that there's a hunger for that type of action again?
Yeah, when I was active, and granted, I feel like we all are active when it comes to our own personal militias in a time of war, but as far as like organizing, that's actually something that's part of the law of the land. Every type of people supposed to have their own militias, and it's their duty. Anytime the government is actually doing something wrong, you have your rights to take over the government. You know, so that's a part of the law of the land that we need to overstand and need to act on. Our main problem is just organizing and living by a code as well. You know, so our mind is everywhere, just due to everything that's going on, social media or whatever. So but yeah. So I feel like it's very important to have a militia. It's very important to be self-sufficient, have self-determination, to be able to do things on your own. You mentioned the Panthers back in the day. The most fearful thing that the government actually feared was the thing of black folks operating in self-determination. So the no need for the government is what they feared. So you mean to tell me all these people don't need us? So they and we are the top money makers. There would be no America if it wasn't for our people. There would be no nothing if it wasn't for our people. So if they don't have us, then guess what? They have nothing. So they actually need us for this thing, this society to survive. So if we're operating on our own, if we just say, hey, forget this and we want to do it for ourselves and only ourselves, then that would be the biggest threat that they can ever experience. But that's what they feared with the Black Panthers back in those days, back in the 60s. So
So I remember when you went down to you visited Tulsa in 2021, and I believe that was the summer of 2021, and you that was for the 100th anniversary of the
mhm.
memorial celebration for Black Wall Street, and
Right.
you were there marching with our militias, right? Our black militia, right?
I
Gun
was there to
clubs,
document that.
a coalition of, I guess, gun club owners and things like that, a coalition, right? And so,
Right.
do you, knowing the history of Black Wall Street and considering what we just said about, coming together and doing things in harmony, do you think that if we would have had a militia, an organized, well organized militia protecting Black Wall Street or Greenwood, you think that would been a deterrent for those who infiltrated that town and basically burned it down?
From my understanding of the Black Wall Street back in those days, they actually did have a militia. So the problem came is when they started finding new strategies to take over these towns. So that was the first time that these towns was bombed. That was the first time I believe ever that they decided to use planes to bomb a city in America.
That's right.
So
That's right.
they use different strategies and these different. So we did have a militia. That's the thing. We did have a militia. In those times. So some of the militias was the Seminoles from back in those days. It was different organizations that was protecting these different neighborhoods. So I mean, we always been that as a tribal people. We always had soldiers to fight for our establishments, our families and so on. So we definitely wasn't naked in those times. We definitely had arms and we was willing to fight. But when you live in a land that we don't fully control, that's what become the problem. So you still surrounded around all of your enemies. It makes it very it makes us very vulnerable to be attacked, if we're not the attackers at any given point, you know. So, but yeah,
I agree. I would agree with you 100%. So, um, what is your major takeaway um, when it comes to how do we keep law enforcement out of our community? Do we just like, for instance, in the case of the 11-year-old young man that was shot in the chest because he called the police, right? So,
mm,
do we stop calling the police, right? Because when we call the
so
police, we invite them into our
mm,
space. Who should we
that's
be
right.
calling? We should have someone, a hotline number where we can call to get some help to deal with those 911 situations, because when they're coming to so-called protect us, to so-called serve, we end up hurt. We end up are dead, right? Unalive, as they say these days. So, um, how can we keep them from coming into our communities? Do we just stop calling the police?
You know, definitely. So a short answer, yes, we should stop calling the police. So what I would like to see is us. being having our own police, protecting ourselves. The biggest thing is to operate in a way where we do not need the government or the state for anything. Because once we actually have our hand out for one small thing, that's when everything could go downhill. So that's been our problem for any city or anything that we have. As soon as we extended our hand out, that's when as soon as we ask for any type of help or agree to any type of treaty or whatever, it just go downhill. The benefit turns to the so-called white man, the white establishment, the so-called white establishment. So the best thing is to be 100% self-sufficient. I don't care how many things happen. Like our people could be, let's just say, for example, if we the most wickedest, because some people actually believe this. Let's just say we the most wickedest people. We have the most wickedest people around us. Stuff keep on happening. I'm still on the notion of never ever calling the police. We handling our own affairs, or never go towards the government at all. Never ask for help. Never ask for justice. Find our own way of justice. Find our own way of making things happen, and completely having self-determination all the way. So that's what I believe. And I really can't, just listening to all of our elders and all of these different teachings, everything fall down to just one thing. Like, hey, do it yourself. Forget everybody else. You have no friends. Do it yourself. Everybody wants something from you. But yeah, we have to do it ourselves.
I wanna so you mentioned something about being self-sufficient, right? And we're living in the age of social media, and like I explained to you before, the reason why I'm choosing to sit down and have these series of interviews is to document
Mm-hmm.
script writers. So I remember when you explained that YouTube had taken or canceled your original YouTube channel, OC the Great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and congratulations on building your channel back up, right? As far as your viewers and followers, right? So, but you you came back with a vengeance. So I want to just go ahead and share my screen and play this video and tell everyone. We'll play this video and tell, and it's of you, right? It's one of your lives. Tell everyone what was going on at this time, because it was maybe the second time that I seen you um I guess we would say disturbed or kind of fed up with our people. See, right now this is the OC I'm used to, right? But this video, it was like, whoa, so who then rub OC the wrong way? So let me go ahead and share my screen, and then I'll come back and I'll let it play and come back and get your honest answer. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. But let's go ahead and play the video. I'm gonna share my screen.
And this is all because of what happened. This, I'm telling you exactly what's going on with OC and this page. You know what I'm saying? It's being shadow banned, and I'm just showing you showing you receipts, showing you receipts. I'm
And
gonna stop bullshitting with you niggas too.
right,
I'm gonna, hey, I've been political. I'm not gonna be political anymore. You motherfuckers come at me sideways, it's like that. I'm gonna give you my real mind. I ain't gonna hold you. I was being humble and everything, but being a part of this shit, although it's like the motherfucking Caucasians against me, right? The system against me, of course, but then I got goofy niggas against me too. I got goofy niggas against me.
So right there, my brother. Let me right there. Let me stop sharing my screen right quick. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
bring it back in. Bring it back in, my brother. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was that about? I was so. I was like, "Who is the goofy nigga you talking about, brother?" What was going on at that point in time in your comeback? Because I thought we was just gonna be getting that, revolution minded, reloaded. What happened, my brother?
Oh yeah. So and really, I think we all run into a lot of the people that's a part of what we would call a so-called conscious community or whatever we want to call it. The woke movement or whatever. Um, we got trolls. We got people, like I say, that's a part of the movement that you would assume that they want to do what's right for the people, but then you find out different things. You know, so I was at a point that I was just like, because I just want to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I was at that point where I just want to keep it real, no matter who come on the platform. So I think I said on that live, I was just like, yeah, whoever I interview next, I'm gonna ask you some real questions. I'm gonna really let you know how I feel about what's going on. You know what I mean? I got sick of people just talking, talking a good talk, being super political with their answers or what they want to do with the movement. I just, got sick and tired of it. Now, I like to point out that now I've actually started. Let's say I've been a part of the new Black Panther Party, for example. This is just a part of the movement in general. I joined in Seattle. What was the year? I think it was. I have to say 20. Was it 2013? I think it was 2015. So 2015, I joined out of Seattle. And I've been a part of different movements, but that definitely had to leave when it comes to just the organization of these different movements. You know what I'm saying? And just sitting back and interviewing different people, because I mean, I interview a lot of different groups, been around a lot of different groups, different people, being a part of these group discussions on what people want to do, and I'm just noticing like how nothing has really changed. I didn't watch GMJ people, to turn on me. You know what I mean? And so many different, just different um organizations that I would expect their mind to be at a different place when it comes to this overall revolution. You know, so even YouTubers to become very clickbaity, um, and just YouTube alone, I noticed like even today they started deleting. Um, they still deleting my videos even to this day. You know what I'm saying? So it's just ultimately a lot of things going on. And I just want to. I was at the point where I want to keep it real. I'm getting tired of a lot of the people, and I'm just ready for ultimate freedom and liberation. I feel like everybody's playing, you know. So, and I still feel that way. I still feel like a lot of people is playing, not really serious, and you know, I got to the point where I was like, I'm posting all these videos, and I'm like, who's really listening? I know that some people were getting it, and shout out to them. Some people reached out to me and say, like, hey, appreciate what you've done, what you did, what you've been doing. I started this organization. I'm doing this because of what I saw on your platform, and I loved it. I love to hear it. You know what I'm saying? But it's more than enough for us. It's not doing enough. So my purpose is to just back up from all of this anytime I come back on a platform, and this is touch on the platform, anytime I come back on a platform, I want to give the people something. They leave. If I can't give the people anything, then I don't just want to sit up and talk. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to give the people something they could take away from, And I'm working on a lot of things when it comes to that, so I could bring it forward. And I don't want to be one of those people that just bullshitting around, just like a lot of people that I see, you know. So I don't want to fall into that boat as well. So yeah, so I mean, as far as the goofy niggas, the bullshit niggas, or whoever that I was mentioning in that live, I was speaking in general. Of course, I had people in mind, but ultimately, I was speaking in general. And the so-called leaders in the community, I just realized a few things. I'm like, yeah, we got to do way better. You know, we got to do way better when it comes to the information that we know, the things that we got, how to move forward in a very strategic and righteous way. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I was fed up about. Tired of seeing the same old every single day.
So
So
speaking of goofy people,
uh-huh.
are you familiar with American Doofus?
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed him on my page. Some people would say I pressed him a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, so I have to go back on your pages. I must have missed that one, but
Mm-hmm.
he's back at some horrible antics again regarding Grandmaster J. John Fitzgerald Johnson, right? And so, have
Mm-hmm.
you seen the latest video that he put out?
I have not. I haven't seen him in a while.
All right,
I haven't
so
seen him in a while.
let me play a short little clip from him, and I'll be back to get your take on it. Hold on, let me share my screen. All right, watch this.
Okay, wait a minute. Yes, okay, that's what I want to share. All right. Okay, we're going to start out with um, a letter from John F. Johnson, otherwise also known as Grandmaster J. And I just want to show you, this is called a Lapa house. Lapa is a type of house. And the floor plans and designs for a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath Lapa house. Why am I showing you this? I'll explain that in just a minute. I just want to show you that the letter is here, but in order to read it, I've got to go back and forth across all the way. So I'm not going to share that while I do read it. Get here to the beginning, but I want to talk about the why the house, why show the house. Um, we I started documenting what was going on with the NFAC July the 4th, 2020, which was Stone Mountain, Georgia. And then I became what Jay said. He said he was going to build a community, and I've been covering covering Grandmaster Jay since that time, and this is part of that documentation, because the journey does continue. And what Jay said, he said he was going to build a community, and even though he's incarcerated, he and his people are building a community. That's what the houses were about. And with that being said, I'll just read the letter. Dear Barry, let me get where I can
So
move
get
it
ready for
back and
this. Brace
forth.
yourself, my brother.
Dear Barry, I hope this letter finds you well. On behalf of Familia Kukansnakia, our online private member gathering, I wanted to reach out and share with you the incredible work we are doing as a group, as well as extend an invitation for you to go live and introduce our goals to a wider audience, which is what we're doing right now. First and foremost, I want to emphasize that we are not seeking any monetary contributions from individuals. We've already invested the funds we raised with a trusted financial firm, ensuring that we have the necessary resources to build new homes for our people at absolutely no cost to them. We firmly believe in creating a sustainable and supportive community for our members. This is just exactly what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to have a community basically of his people for his people. And
Okay. Can you hear me, my brother? Can you hear me, my brother?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Did you hear that?
Sure. I did.
Okay, so my question to you is we were talking about, you know, law enforcement and building our own military as well as having a right to having our own militia. Do you think that the man that you know as Grandmaster Jay would have reached out to American Doofus to convey a message of him starting a community of our own?
I don't only think Jim J wouldn't do that. I don't think anybody would do that. You know what I'm saying? So, why him? And then if you are a black militia or have a black militia or any type of black group, why would you talk to this guy? It's it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So, but my thing is these are the type of people that some of us actually let in the barbecue, let in our community. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's a problem overall. Even looking at some of these comments, I see some of these. I've seen some of these names even on my live. You know what I'm saying? So it's just beyond me on how we can even let these type of people into what we do just because they big up in somebody. I mean, they have first skin and they big up in something that we doing. So they shouldn't have that type of power. What I mean, amongst our people, but for some reason they do. But yeah, to answer your question, hell no. I don't think anybody would do that.
And I
A
think
wider,
I think
he
you're
say a white. He said a wider audience or a wider audience.
he said wide, WIDER. However, he only has what
Wow.
4,004 subscribers, and as of
Yeah. So
right
that.
now, only 450 views. So what's the wider
Yeah.
audience? So
Um.
in
Yeah.
contrast, when you did your video on Grandmaster J and how to free, if you want to get Grandmaster J free, remember that video?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
you had Ramzu Eunice on there, right?
Right.
That had over 1 million views, I believe. So I know his video is still young, right? In 17 hours, he got 450 views. But my thing is this: that whole video is an hour and 20 minutes long, and he spent maybe 15 minutes, maybe not even 10 to 15 minutes talking about Grandmaster Jay. But look at the title.
Yeah. Clickbait.
Right. So we should be saying cancel this guy. So in the we were talking about social media, and I know that you interviewed a lot of different people, including American Doofus. Which interview would you say was the most enlightening and why?
Um, that's a interesting. Cause that's an interesting question. Because I think all in combined, it should be able to paint a certain picture on exactly what's going on in these times. You know, so I feel like all of them is important to paint a certain type of picture. Like I've spoken with Doofus, for example, and I basically what I told him, if you go and look at that, what I told him is like, hey, yeah, you're a Caucasian guy. Why don't you talk about the things that's going on in the Caucasian community? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you do that instead of talking about the things that's going on in our communities? You know what I mean? So he said he'll do more of that. So that was basically the whole conversation. I also talked to somebody else that I felt like they were scamming in the community. You know, I had those conversations with a particular person. I don't have to say this person's name, but that's on the platform. But it was under the name of GMJ. Someone was wants to collect funds under GMJ and um, other people, but it would find out to be a scam.